And start with mantra. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So today is we are moving to the Shukla Yajurveda and we'll take Isha Upanishad as our text. Isha Upanishad is one of the oldest Upanishads in the literature. It belongs to Samhita text itself, to the Vajrasana Samhita, conclusive 40th chapter. So basically it's not an Upanishad, it's more the chapter of Samhita. It's a very famous one because of its content. We will see it. Yeah? Even Gandhi, when he saw, he wrote a very beautiful text on Isha Upanishad, and he said, even if all the scriptures would happen to be turned to ashes and only the first verse of Isha Upanishad would be in the memory of Hindus, Hinduism would live forever. So we will look into it, why it's so important. And you know, Sri Aurobindo started his commentaries on Isha Upanishad, which turned to be life divine at the end. So let us look into it. So that was the Shantipatha of Shukla Yajurveda or Yajnavalkya Samhita, which you know most probably. Purnamadav, that is full or complete. Purnamidam, this is complete. Purnat Purnamudachyate, from the complete arises. Purnasya Purnam Adaya, having taken complete from complete. Purnameva Vashishyate, the completeness or fullness remains. So you cannot exhaust it. You can take all out of it and it will still be all. This is the beautiful Shantipatha and the text. Let's go straight into the text. I guess you know the text already. Some of you may know it. Yeah? Isha vasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha magridhah kasyas vidhanam. This is the verse which, if it would be in the memory of Hindus, Hinduism would live forever. All this, sarvam idam, this all, yatkincha jagatyam jagat, whatever exists, whatsoever is individual universe of movement in the universal motion, all this, Ishavasyam, is for habitation by the Lord. So there is nothing in this world which is not for his habitation. All is for his habitation, whatever moves in this world. And as we know, everything moves in this world. Nothing stays static. It's constantly moving. The whole universe, galaxies, sun, moon, earth around the sun, sun around the center of the galaxy, galaxy expanding in the universe. So all is constantly moving, atoms, electrons, nothing stays static. So everything moves, and all this is for his habitation. It's quite an interesting line because Vasyam is the participle perfect passive voice. That means to be inhabited. All this is to be inhabited. or even will be inhabited, we can translate. Will be inhabited by the Lord. What it implies, yes, Sri Aurobindo gives the footnote here for this vasyam, to be inhabited, to be clothed, to be worn as a garment, to be inhabited. From three different roots, which are all vas. Vas is to wear, vas is to be dressed, to wear, and to be inhabited. Also to shine. From here, Ushav is produced. Yeah? So there are 6 meanings of root vas. We cover only a few. And vas is also to shine. So we can translate it also as all this is to be shining with divine presence. So he is to inhabit it from within and to shine through with his presence. All this is the garment for him. It's his decoration. It's his cover. It's his habitation. Yeah? Interesting that all of these are fitting into one image. Yeah? Habitation, cloth, garment, and presence, voluminous presence from within. Shankaracharya translates this as all is inhabited by the Lord, yes, as if it is past participle perfect, but it is not. It is future participle, to be inhabited, not is inhabited. And this is something fundamentally different from what Sri Aurobindo and what we understand by this. So what it means that it is not yet inhabited by the Lord. It is in the process of his kind of conquering the world, his own manifestation. It's in the evolutionary process of him coming into the world. Yeah? There is a dynamism in this word. It's chosen consciously by Yajnavalkya. So, by the Lord, Isha, Vasyam, is to be inhabited. Idam sarvam, all this, yatkincha, whatever, whatsoever, jagatyam, in the movement universal, jagat moves. Whatever moves in the universal motion is to be inhabited by him. And then second line, which is even more confusing. Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. By that, renounced, literally, tena, by that, tyaktena, renounced. And this is participle perfect, passive voice. By that, left, renounced, bhunjitha, you should enjoy. Magridhach, don't lust, don't greed after, don't lust after, don't grab. Kasya svidhanam. Sri Aurobindo translates in few times in different ways, but here lust not after any man's possession. Kasya svid, somebody's, dhanam, wealth. But it can be translated also kasya svidhanam, whose indeed wealth is it? As a questioning sentence. Shankaracharya, by the way, gives both. He says that it can be a question, whose indeed wealth is it? Don't grab. And then he answers, this is God's wealth, Lord's wealth. That's why you should not grab it. It does not belong to you. It belongs to him.
So why is the Lord not yet in habitation of all of this? Why is he yet to inhabit? I thought he entered his creation.
If it would be so, then we would not have all this ignorance and darkness and suffering and so on and so forth, yes? If he would be totally in possession of his own world, yeah, then we would not have even these classes, I guess. because there would be no need. He will be everywhere all the time. We are looking for him, so to say. He is inside, and outside it seems it's quite a questionable situation. So from within to without, there is a long way to go. So he from within has to possess everything from without. And that is the kind of indicated here. But what is interesting in the second line, by that renounced you should enjoy. And Shankaracharya translates this differently. By the renunciation you should enjoy life. And don't greed after anything, because it is not your wealth. Whose wealth is it? It is Lord's wealth. This is his interpretation, Advaitic. And there is a very interesting kind of objection to it, which I have and Sri Aurobindo has. I have even more than Sri Aurobindo can object. Plus to that he objects. I have one more point. This verse was for me for years hanging in the air, I could never understand this tiaktena, by the renounced, why this was used. In the dictionary, in the Monier-Williams dictionary even, you can find that only one meaning, tyakta, as a renunciation, and it is given only for this verse, renunciation, and only in Shankaracharya's interpretation. Otherwise, it would never, you cannot meet this word in any other position in this meaning. So it's always left, something which is already renounced. It's from rutyaj, to leave, to abandon. By the abandoned, by that abandoned, you should enjoy. Does it make sense?
Abandon, renounce the world and enjoy the world are contradictions.
Right, in a way. But if we go deeper into the psychology of the what it means that the Lord himself, Isha, yes, is the one Ishvara, the one who is free from the objects of enjoyment. That is the mastery. When you are master, you are free, from so you are not dependent on the object of enjoyment. But otherwise, you are not Isha, un-Isha. Then you are a slave to the. So to become free, having become free by that, by what that? Why that? By that means by that world which is to be inhabited by the Lord. By that all, sarvamidam, by this all, having become free from it, free means becoming the Lord of it, you should enjoy the world. You should enjoy the world having become free from it, as the Lord is free from it. So if you are not free, you cannot enjoy it. So you would be tied to it, you would depend on it, depend on all. But if you are independently enjoying, then you are like the Lord. You can enjoy everything, anything. There is no restriction to your enjoyment. You don't need to possess it. So Magridha, don't grasp it, don't grab it, don't put it into your pocket. This world is not havable in that sense. You can have it only as the Lord, being free from the object of enjoyment. Only then you can enjoy it, really. You can have total joy, bhunjitha, atmanepadam's middle voice. You can rejoice by all these stars, wind, sun, it's all for your enjoyment. Because kasya svidhanam, whose wealth is it? And this is interesting question. Don't grab, don't put it into your pocket as if you don't possess it. You already possess it. You're already the Lord here. So kasya svidhanam, whose wealth is it? It is your wealth. already. It's given. And don't behave as if it is not. So this is the kind of revelation I got one night. I remember I jumped. It came like a lightning. I rushed to Savitri, opened Savitri, put my finger, and there was the unanswered, the supreme truth. We are the Lord here, and we have to behave as the Lord. Only then we will be able to enjoy the world, to be totally happy. Because only free person can enjoy this beautiful world. Only a free person, nobody else. When you are anisha, when you are dependent on the object of enjoyment, it's a prison. Smaller, bigger, greater prison. Yeah? It's all whatever it is. Even ice cream can be a prison. So Sandy is joining us. You are muted, Sandy. I hope you didn't go in the wrong direction again. Most probably joined the other party.
Oh, here I am.
Yeah.
No, I clicked your Zoom and it took me this long to get in.
Oh, wow. This is something else happening. It sometimes happens. It happens to you to to work out your patience, I guess. Somehow it wants you to be impatient, and you have to work on yourself. It's just
I totally agree.
oh God, funny. So we are discussing this beautiful first verse of Isha Upanishad of Shukla Yajurveda. We are moving into Shukla Yajurveda, where Isha Upanishad is the last chapter of this Vajrasani Samhita. So by the Lord, all this is for habitation by the Lord. Whatsoever is individual universe of movement in the universal motion, by that renounce thou should enjoy. Lust not after any man's possession. Lust not, grab not, because whose wealth is it? It's your wealth. So don't pretend to be a man who may possess something because, and if we analyze the possession, why Mother wanted Auroville to be free from personal possessions, it's quite an interesting thing. Because the possession is an illusion of some kind, It gives you certain rights, certain kind of freedom. Yeah, you have your house, you are free, kind of free. Because all that is temporarily. You can't take it, you can't change it, you can't acquire it totally. Yes, so you will have to leave it behind. It's instrumental to you. You cannot enjoy, we have to be able to enjoy all the possessions, not only ours, but others also. And this is happening in the world. Infrastructures are built, cities are built, new qualities. You can enjoy it from every corner, the richness of the world. Yes, you can enjoy the beautiful garden of your neighbor. You don't need to have the garden. Yeah? You can see the flowers blooming, and that is already a joy. You don't need to cut the flower and put into your, separate. This is magridha. Don't grab, don't pull, don't put into your pocket, because this is an illusion of possession. It's not really a possession. It's just opposite to it. It's you are becoming Anisha. You become the one who is not master, actually. So here we have this beautiful vision, how we are to possess this world as the Lord, because it is all for his habitation. And we are the Lord, have to reveal that quality of the Lord and enjoy his manifestation, not renounce it, not drop it off because it's not mine. It is mine, given. It's already by default, it is mine as the Lord, but not as Anisha. If I am an Isha, it's not mine. Then I have to put it into my pocket and pretend that I possess it. It's interesting, yeah? Kind of how much is said in one small verse. So having renounced all this, having become free from the object of enjoyment, enjoy the world. Don't do vairagya, no? Don't do the kind of vairagya is interesting. It's kind of discoloring the world, making it not attractive for enjoyment. This is the Advaitic understanding, and only then you can be free from it. This is not the way. You don't have to discolor. You don't have to destroy the world to become free from it. No? You become free from it totally differently, but without grabbing it, renouncing it, becoming the Lord yourself, and then fully enjoying it. So everything is enjoyable in this world. Everything. There's nothing which is to be rejected if you are the Lord. This is a new paradigm, by the way, which is quite difficult to bring because of Advaitic vision, and because of our difficulties in our psychology. How can I enjoy everything if I am not the Lord? And if I am the Lord, how can I stay here? Why should I stay here? Because I already received my unborn self. I realized mukti. Why should I stay here? And this is the second verse. Let us look into the second verse. Kurvanneveha karmani jivishet shatam samaha evam tvai nanyathe na karma lipyate nare. And doing here verily works in this world. One should wish to live 100 years. Thus, it is in thee, and not otherwise than this, action cleaves not to a man. This is something to be again interpreted and translated a bit differently for us to understand. What do you understand from this, by the way? Can you share your understanding? Somebody?
I can try.
Yeah, please go ahead.
After one has, kind of renounced the world and yet living, as is said in the first verse, enjoying the world. One is enjoying the world after having renounced it. Then one can live a long life.
One should live.
One should live a long life.
And thus and not otherwise, karma does not stick to man.
Because then karma does not stick.
Yeah, very nice. You got this kind of context of the first verse into the second. This is very important. So having become free from the object of enjoyment, enjoying the world, one should stay in this world, the full cycle of life. One should not rush out. The presumption is here that once you are free, why should you stay? Yeah? You are immortal being, infinite, unborn self. Why to have this trouble to stay and do here works? Working here in this kind of prison, of desires and darkness and pain and suffering and labor. Why? You are already in the blissful state of the Lord. And this is the verse, why? Thus and not otherwise, karma would not have consequences. That means you can create the world. Now, without consequences, you can manifest the divine in fullness. His presence, his light can be manifested. That makes sense. To stay the full cycle of life. Many people who got liberated could not maintain this. They were attracted. I myself, if you think of it a little bit, if you get the full freedom, suppose, yes, you got into the bliss of unborn self, why should you really go for this trouble to stay here? You can neglect this life. Many did, even Vivekananda, when that's what Ramakrishna told him. When you know who you are, you would not be interested in all this. You would not speak that you are a socialist and that you are fighting for India and, Pua Narayana, all those ideas to develop India and so on. That would not be your preference. And that exactly what happened. Once he realized who he was, he slowly lost interest in life, because he was in those higher realms, so to say. This is what happens to all of us. Once you move to the higher realms, you lose the grip over the physical life. It's a problem of our psychology. But here it is emphasized. But having become free, you must to wish. And notice, you must wish. You have to stay. You have to wish to stay the 100 years, the full cycle of life. That's why Mother most probably wanted to live 100 years. She always said, if I only could cross 100 years. There's something occult about this 100 years. We do not know why it is so important, no? There's something about the cycle of 100. Most probably I think it is the symbolic number rather than the real 100 years. But still, to wish to stay 100 years, one must. Doing here works. And this doing works with a free consciousness. This what creates a new world, does not create consequences, does not tie you with karmic consequences, because karmic consequences means that you are involved in nature and nature holds you back. You're not free. You are not making any difference much. You are part of natural development. As nature develops, you are involved in natural work, but you are not making difference other than nature makes it by herself. But as a Lord to make the difference, what Mother was doing, building ashram, Sri Aurobindo was doing, being free, they worked in this world continuously, and that changes the world dramatically. It brings new powers of consciousness into it. The matter changes, the vital, the mental, everything changes. Because the free spirit here, unborn self, is working on this nature. Makes sense? So here we have two poises. One is to become free from the object of enjoyment and enjoy the object of enjoyment fully as the Lord does, number one. And second, to stay here, full cycle, till the end, to bring those powers into manifestation. Ramakrishna speaks about, we mentioned this before, Jivan Koti and Ishvara Koti. So there are two types of souls who are seeking mukti, liberation, number one, and leaving this world, abandoning it, because liberation is what they want. They want to be free from this imprisonment in matter. And there is another type who is seeking liberation but wants to come back and work for the divine. And this is Ishvara Koti. These are rare souls. When he spoke about this in his ashram, everybody in his ashram said, "We are Ishvara Koti. We want to come back and work for the divine." And this second verse is about them. They have to stay and to work until the divine manifestation is done, until Ishavasyam, all this for his habitation, is realized. Yes. Shubhendra gives very beautiful comments here on the second verse, saying that we have an obligation to do the work for the divine. Our yoga is not for ourselves, it is for the divine. And this is the second verse. Yeah, once we are liberated, once we realize that we are the divine, we have to work in this world for his manifestation. Of course, we have a long way to go to first realize that we are the divine. The first verse is still waiting for us, but we have already an kind of affirmation of certainty that this is the way to go. And then there is the third verse. These first three verses are one section, which is totally opposite. Asurya nama te loka andhena tamasa vritaha tanste pretyabhi gachanti ye kechat mahano janaha. Sunless are those worlds, and enveloped in blind gloom, whereto all they in their passing hence resort who are slaves of their souls. So this is the third position. We can identify ourselves in the first position with the Lord, be free from the object of enjoyment, from the world, and enjoy it. We can also bring all the powers into the world and change it. Second verse, engage with the world as free beings, or we can identify our consciousness with the matter, with the material matter, with nature, renouncing the soul, materialistic view, saying there is no soul, there is no divine. I am the nature. As my father used to say, I am the gray stuff of my brain. And then they enter into the sunless place. Asurya nama te loka. They are sunless names, sunless worlds named as Asurya, without sun. Andhena tamasa, by the blind darkness, avritaha, covered. Tanste, into those they, pretya, after leaving the body, abhigachanti, go. Yeke chat mahano janaha, those who slay their souls. So slaying one's soul is a big topic. Slaying one's soul is deciding that you are, it's impossible to slay your soul, but totally it's not impossible. If it is there, it cannot be slain. But it is possible to deny its right. And many people did in this world. You know? They believe that they are kind of biological beings. They have biological psychology, biological chemical relations. And all what they have, these reactions are chemical reflexes, biological reflexes. Some people, you may find such people. You know, my father was one of those. It's quite interesting. He told me how he decided it. And he said when he was 27, he was communist, and you know, the whole propaganda of there is no God. He was propagandist of atheism, going around in churches telling people that there is no God, so don't believe in it, you know. And then he had to decide for himself. There was a question in him whether God exists or not. So he said that I came to the room, empty room, put the chair in the middle of the room, sat down and thought deeply. And then I said, there is no God. And then he said, the bells, heavenly bells, many. I told him, you cut your head off for this manifestation. You will have no choice. But what is interesting, he came then to Oroville and he read Satprem, and he said, this was the divine I believed in. I didn't believe that the God is on the cloud somewhere looking down in the night dress, yawningly, what these guys are doing there. It's not the God I believed in, this Christian, kind of remote. He believed that the divine is everywhere, but he didn't call it the divine. It's quite interesting.
So, Vladimir, I have a question. If somebody denies the soul in one life, can they redeem themselves in another?
I think so. How can you really kill your soul? You can't. You can, yeah, you can deny it in this manifestation, the choice. So you identify your consciousness with your outer being, with your physicality, with your good looking, yeah, good functioning, going fitness, yeah, good eating, healthy, healthy food, healthy this. Vivekananda is joking about these Hatha yogins who live for 200 years, useless vegetable life, 200 years of vegetable life. So, where is consciousness in all this? Yeah? It's not totally true, as we know from Sri Aurobindo. Yes, it cannot be neither nor, but it's a preference of consciousness here. So we have three preferences: to identify oneself with the divine, and look at the world as a place for one's enjoyment as the divine, then bringing it into the world, working on the world as the divine presence, and identifying oneself with the world, not with the divine, and not working, being worked out by the divine as a material. So three possible relations, only three, we don't have more. They're all covered here. And they are principal decisions, by the way. So who are we? We are most probably all three. In the integral yoga, all three are important. And we have to identify ourselves also with the outer consciousness, with the inner, and working on the outer from the inner. Yeah? All three are important, but not as exclusively only third against first two. Yes, or the first is more integral. Yes, these are actually, you see how beautifully, how simple it is, how Isha Upanishad in a simple language explains most difficult topics to discuss. And then there is a shift. Sri Aurobindo speaks about 4 movements in this Upanishad. It's a very short Upanishad, only 18 verses. And there are 4 movements. The first movement is finished here, after third verse. So first 3 verses are giving us the whole vision. So you can be the Lord, you can be Lord working in nature, and you can be nature worked out by the Lord. So here there are 3 relations, and they are determining next 3 parts. So the first part comes with the spirit. Now the verse number 4 will start speaking about Brahman. So there is a difference between the Atman and Brahman, between the Lord, Isha, Ishvara, and the spirit, Brahman. So what is the difference? The spirit is that which permits the Lord to pervade the universe, to come into every being, into every movement. So, it is that which holds everything for him, ready to come through. It's his spirit. Let us say it is his spirit. It's like 1 and 0. So 0 is the spirit and 1 is the Lord. So the 0 can be covered. Let us even put like this: 0, comma, and then 99999 into eternity. This 9 into eternity is 1, and 0 with comma before is the spirit, which is potentially can be filled with any numbers of the one. It is the space, as Sri Krishna says in the Gita, Samam Brahma is my yoni. Samam Brahma is this one Brahman, one spirit, similar everywhere, in every being, is my yoni, my, how to put it properly, location. So the one can locate there everything, and he casts the seed into this yoni, into this womb yoni. Womb is a location of the universe. He casts the seed, and from the seed all the creatures come into being. So it's this conceivement of by the Lord into the spirit. So spirit is considered as
Dennis Chang.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, that was a phone.
Okay, as a location, as a womb in which this manifestation is taking place, or as Prakriti. Notice, spirit is a Prakriti in a way. Purusha and Prakriti, if you look at this duality. So, and this made me think about Christianity. If you think about Christianity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So this, where is the mother? And this is the Holy Spirit is the mother, actually. It is that womb in which the Son is being conceived and being born. It's quite amazing. So we are talking now about the Divine Mother, Paraprakriti or Brahman. Paraprakriti is Satchitananda, and that is Brahman, transcendental spirit. Anejat ekam manaso javiyo naina deva apnuvan purvamarshat tadhavato jnanati etit tishtat tasminnapo matarishvadadhati. One unmoving that is swifter than mind, that the gods reach not, for it progresses ever in front. That standing passes beyond others as they run. In that the Master of Life establishes the waters. Yeah, the waters here is the conception or the action or the seed is cast into this. The Master of Life is the Matarishva, the one who is growing in the mother, is casting the seed or establishing the embryo. So anejat, he does not move. Ekam, one, manaso javiyo, faster than the mind. Not moving, alone, one, and faster than the mind. It's quite clear, so because it is present everywhere simultaneously. It is simultaneously everywhere the same. This is the Brahman, which is kind of not possible to understand for the mind, because mind operates by linear thinking or whatever, global thinking, but there will be always a process in time, and here it's timeless. It's kind of simultaneous presence everywhere. Moreover, Sri Aurobindo in the Life Divine describes Brahman in a beautiful way. He says it is present in everything and everywhere. And in comparison of, for example, the anthill and the solar system, if we compare them, for the Brahman it is the same, anthill or the solar system. There is no difference between the two. From the point of view of quality, we can think that anthill is much more complex than solar system, actually. There is a life energy in it, yeah. And from this point of view of quality, one human being, one body of the human is greater than all unanimated nature. All nature, the whole universe. One body of man is greater than the whole universe. From qualitative point of view. But he says it's another illusion. Qualitative. First, quantitative illusion that anthill is smaller than solar system. Yeah, they are the same. But this is another qualitative illusion, because for the Brahman, man and nature and ant and atom is everywhere the same. This is something profound, and here it is expressed exactly in that way. He is not moving, he is alone, one, and he is faster than the mind. Mind cannot catch up with him. Naina Deva Apnwan. Gods cannot reach him, cannot understand him, cannot get him. Purva Marshat. He always moves in front. It's like, the carrot in front of the donkey. This is the Brahman for the rest of us. We are moving to catch it. But it is always in front. Tadhavaton and running others, atiyeti, he overcomes, overruns, tishtat, staying. Staying, he overcomes all the running. Tasmin napomatarishva dadhati, and into him the Lord of life, who is growing here, casts his action, waters or seed. Sri Aurobindo has here the footnotes, number 5 and 6. Matarishvan seems to me he who extends himself in the mother, that is that presence of the Lord in the spirit, or the container. Literally, matari, in the mother, shva, swelling, growing in the mother. Whether that be the containing mother element, ether, or the material energy called earth in the Veda and spoken of there as the mother. It is a Vedic epithet of the god Vayu, who, representing the divine principle in the life energy, prana, extends himself in matter and vivifies its forms. Here it signifies the divine life power that presides in all forms of cosmic activity. Apas, these waters, what is this? What it is? As it is accentuated in the version of Vaidya Ayurveda, can mean only waters. If this accentuation is disregarded, we may take it as the singular apas, work, action. Shankara, however, renders it by the plural, works. The difficulty only arises because the true Vedic sense of the word had been forgotten, and it came to be taken as referring to the fourth and the five elemental states of matter. To the fourth, that means water. Of the 5 elemental states of matter, the liquid. Such a reference would be entirely irrelevant to the context. But the waters, otherwise, called the 7 streams or the 7 fostering cows, are the Vedic symbol of the 7 cosmic principles and their activities, their inferior, the physical, vital, mental, 4 superior, the divine truth, the divine bliss, the divine will and consciousness, and the divine being. Of this conception also, on this conception also is founded the ancient idea of the 7 worlds, in each of which the 7 principles are separately active by their various harmonies. This is obviously the right significance of the word in the Upanishad. Something even more I can say about apas. From root up, etymologically, Sri Aurobindo derives interesting idea of the conception. So we have interesting words like appa, amma. Yeah? Amba is, and we have apatya in Sanskrit, apatya, offspring. Yeah? He says it is from up, root of waters. Apatya, because there is this soma element, that element which is the seed which continues its kind of offspring. Yeah? And from here, appa and the father, yeah, in Tamil, but amba, amma is in Tamil also, but amba in Sanskrit. He says these appa and apatya are connected as the father and son, as a conception, as a continuation of life. Yeah? So in this case, yes. So establishing appas, establishing the seed, casting the seed, yeah, is the idea of conception. Tadejati, tannaijati, taddure, tadvantike, tad antar asya sarvasya, tadu sarvasya asya bhayata. This is again about the spirit that is moving, tadejati, tannaijati, that is not moving, tad dure, that is far, tad antike, and that is near, tad antar asya sarvasya, that is inside of all of this, Tadu sarvasyasya bhahyatah, and it is outside of all of this. This is the way of explaining Brahman, in a puzzling language. And there is a beautiful description of Brahman in Chandogya Upanishad, where it is described that the one who knows Brahman as a spirit out, as a space outside, as a universe, all the universe outside is Brahman. He indeed knows Brahman. But the one who knows Brahman as the space inside, which is identical with the space outside, he knows better Brahman. But the one who knows Brahman as the space within the heart and identical with the space within and the space without, he indeed knows Brahman. So this is something very similar to this verse. Yes? So that is moving and moving, not far and near. It is inside of all this and outside of all this. And it is one and the same Brahman. This was the discovery of the Upanishads. All is built on this discovery of the spirit, that there is underlying one reality which is holding all, yeah, all these universes, inside, outside, because they were dealing also with the reality inside, not only outside. So they were wondering how this inner reality corresponds to the outer. And then they discovered Brahman, and then they knew how it was.
Vladimir, this verse also comes in the Guru Gita.
Okay.
Where he's talking about the inner guide, the inner guru as Brahman.
Yeah.
This verse is recited there.
Yeah, beautiful. So this is the second movement of the spirit, and we are coming back to the third about the again. You notice that these two verses were about in the neuter gender. Yes, they were not in the masculine gender. Masculine gender is he, the Lord. It is it. It is. Yeah, tad, that. So, and then we are coming back to the masculine gender, the one who is Yastu Sarvani Bhutani, the one who sees all the beings Atmani in oneself. Evanu Pashyati Sarva Bhuteshu Chatmanam, and in all the beings oneself, Tatona Vijugupsate, and shrinks not from it. Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani Atmaiva Bhut Vijanatach, in whom all the beings became himself. Tatra ko moha, kak shoka. What moha is there? What shoka? Ekatvamanupashyatach, of the one who sees the oneness. So this is the Lord within his spirit. Yeah? He comes back. We come back to the conception of the Lord acting within his spirit. Yeah? Who sees oneself in all the beings and all the beings in oneself. This is the realization which is possible because of Brahman. And that's why Brahman had to be mentioned here before we come to that activity of the Lord. So first we defined what is the Lord and nature, then we defined the spirit, how he, the Lord, can move through in nature. It is because of Brahman, his spiritual presence in the world allows him to be everywhere simultaneously. Okay, we will stop here and continue next time. There will be 2 sessions for Isha. We will finish it next time. Okay? All right, I will close with the mantra. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste. See you. Bye.